So guys, we're going to go through, we're going to break down the roadmap because it literally has just been updated. We're also going to compare to what it was a fortnight ago, which is the last time, as far as I understand, they upgraded the Star Citizen roadmap. So obviously, guys, we'll be going through and comparing that. So let's just jump straight into it. Mission giver Takeo Pesabio, I'm getting that name wrong. She is now 29 out of 46. She was 25 out of 46, so she has obviously gained a few extra steps. DNA face customization is 68 out of 112. It was 63 out of 104, so they have completed a few extra things, but they have also grown a little bit as well. Playable female characters is now 81 out of 102. It was 80 out of 102, so it has gained an extra step. Locations for Arcot Planet. So Arcot Planet was now is 28 out of 36. It was 20 out of 36, so obviously that has grown in a few different places. Moon Lyria has obviously now done 11 out of 14. It was 11 out of 14, so there is no movement on that for the past fortnight, which is a little bit concerning, but moving along. And Walla now is 4 out of 6, which is the same as it was as well. So, yeah, they haven't made any progress on that. But Area 18 landing zone is 319 out of 483. Now, it was 227 out of 448, so they have made a fair bit of progress on this, but they also have gained a few extra things to do as well. So, yeah, a bit of a mixed bag on that, but they have made quite significant progress. The AI at the moment is 1 out of 3. It was 0 out of 3. The basic gunship behavior now is 1 out of 2. That is the same as it was. Ship flight model for AI is in polishing phase, which is what it was exactly anyway. So that is great. AI ship combat behavior is 2 out of 4. It was 0 out of 4. So that has gained roughly around 50%. So that is kind of cool. Gameplay for Heat is now 1 out of 11, so that is what it was before, so there's no movement on that. AI bounty hunting and environmental missions is 0 out of 3, which is obviously the same as it was, so no movement on that. Vehicle scanning HUD improvements. Now this is 11 out of 28. This was 5 out of 20. So they have made some progress, and they have also added a few extra steps as well. AI Distress Beacon is 2 out of 4. What that was is the same, was 2 out of 4. Vehicle Radar version 2 is still listed as schedule, so no movement on that. Quantum Travel Improvements, which is 2 out of 14, which is the was 1 out of 14. 1 out of 12. So they have gone through, made a tiny fraction of progress, but they have added 2 extra modules to that. Vehicle scanning improvements is now 14 out of 17. It was 12 out of 16. So they have made a couple extra steps, but they also have gained an extra step in that as well. Ships degradation improvements is 2 out of 3. It was, or it used to be, it used to be 2 out of 3, which is the same. Vehicle tech updates version 1, which is now 12 out of 26. It was 9 out of 12. 9 out of 19. Sorry. So they have gone through. They have actually improved it or added a few extra steps. And they have also made some progress on that as well. Group system improvements is 1 out of 2. That used to be the same, so they made no progress on that. VoIP and VoIP is 12 out of 29. It was 9 out of 29, so they have made some steps on that. Distortion damage improvements is 6 out of 7. That was 5 out of 7, so they have made one extra step on that. Gimbal mounted weapon improvements, or in version 1, is 2 out of 3. It is the same as it was before. Extended missions delivery to ArcCorp is 1 out of 4. That is the same as it was. So, ship in vehicles, Origin 300i rework. It was 40 out of 79. It is now 44 out of 79. So they have made some extra steps progress in that. Origin 315 rework was 2 out of 10. It is the same, so there's no major progress on that. The 325A rework, which is 2 out of 10, which is the same. And the 350 rework is also, or the 350R rework, has also made no progress either with 2 out of 10. The Banyu Defender is at 13 out of 48, which has obviously stayed the same. The Misk Reliance Talina is 3 out of 10. That is the same as it was. The Misk Reliance Santo is 27 out of 34, which is the same as it was. And the Misk Reliant Maniko is 3 out of 10, which is the same as it was back then as well. So this made no real difference when the ships at all. The Banyu Siege Tachyon Cannon was 2 out of 25. It is now 4 out of 25, so they have slightly improved on that. The Gemini S71 was 10 out of 28. They have now changed that to 18 out of 29. So they have gained an extra step, but they've made a bit of progress on that. Well, they've moved about 10 paces on that, or 8 paces on that. The Tactical System GT870, it was 3 out of 23. It is now 5 out of 23. The Arms Coda, the Cascade Arms Coda, it was 6 out of 26. It is now 15 out of 26. So they've also made some progress on that. Now, the Asynchronous Disconnection Reflector, it was 4 out of 16. It has stayed the same as it is. Network OCS Stall Fixes, it was 0 out of 10. It's still 0 out of 10, so they've made no progress on that. The new flight model is 124 out of 144. Now, it was 122 out of 144, so they have gained 2 extra steps on that. Projectile Manager was 5 out of 12. It is now 10 out of 17, so they have made some progress on that, but they've also gained a few extra steps as well. Hard Surface Shader Improvements is 3 out of 4. It was 3 out of 5. So they've actually gone down a step on that. So there's obviously something they don't need to do anymore, or they don't need anymore. So that is obviously great news for that, I suppose. But yeah, so there's one less step involved in that. And optimization or performance optimization is 2 out of 3, which is what it was back last time they updated the roadmap. So no major change on that. So let's go have a look at 3.6 and let's see if there's any updates or changes on that. So glass visor and HUD improvements is still under schedule, no change on that. Locations, obviously the rest stop space stations, that is 1 on 18, so that has moved forward 1 step. So that has come out of scheduling. AI is still listed as schedule, so no major change on that. NPCs is still listed as schedule, so no change on that. NPC Improvement Civilian is still listed as schedule, no change on that. FPS Cover is still listed as schedule, no change on that. Gameplay is still listed as schedule, so there's no change on that either. That's for weapon attachments, sorry. Black Market Economy is still listed as schedule, no change. Ship Rentals, schedule, no change. Player Free Look, schedule, no change. Ragdoll Improvements is still scheduled, no change. Player Jumper version 2 still scheduled, no change. Ship system degradation improvements still scheduled, no change. System misfires is now 7 out of 16. That used to be 7 out of 16, so there's no change, but they have made some significant progress on that, considering it's not supposed to be out for quarter 2. Player carryables version 2 is still listed as scheduled, so no change. The transit system is still as 0 out of 6, so they've made no change on that. Bounty mission NPCs is still listed as scheduled, so no change. Lore system is still scheduled, so there's no change in regards to that. Which is obviously the new thing. Now, ships and vehicles. The Vanguard Warden update is listed as 3 out of 14, which is the same as it was, so there's no change on that. Kruger Intergalactic P-52 Archimedes has no change. It's still listed as schedule. The Origin 890 Jump, which is still 28 out of 144. The Cougar 52 Merlin is still listed as schedule. The weapons and items, the Apocalypse Amos missile launcher is still listed as schedule. The Bearing pistol is still listed as schedule. And the Neutron repeaters is still listed as 1 out of 12. Now, for core tech, we do have a schedule for the clients to server actor networking rework, which is the same. Planetary ground fog tech, which is still scheduled. The procedural asteroid version 2 is still listed as scheduled. Disruption and eco improvements is still scheduled. Harvestable entities spawning is 1 out of 16, so that has made some progress. It was listed as 0 out of 6, or listed as schedule. So that has moved one step forward, and performance optimization is still listed as scheduled. So apart from that, let's have a quick look at 3.7, although I'm not really expecting a lot to be changed here, but let's go through and have a look at that. The Bounty Hunter armor is still listed as scheduled, so no change. Cargo depot space stations is scheduled. Rest stops is still scheduled. Rest stops is still scheduled for the interior, so no changes on any of that. The AI NPC improvements of shopkeepers is still listed as scheduled. FPS combat weapon types, now that is 1 out of 5, which is the same as it was, so no change. Advanced gunshot defensive maneuvers is still scheduled. Refueling fuel scoop is still listed as scheduled. Player locomotion is scheduled. NPC healing is scheduled. Close combat scheduled. Death animations is obviously scheduled. Player swim is scheduled. Player status system is scheduled. Power systems version 2 is scheduled. PvP bounties is still scheduled. Combat experience is still scheduled. Ship to ship docking is still scheduled. Repair, refuel, restock kiosks still scheduled. Physical inventories is still scheduled. Now, as for the ships, the Aegis Vanguard Heartbringer is still 1 out of 9, so they've made no progress. The Vanguard Sentinel is still 1 out of 12, so no progress. And the Cutlass is Red is still listed as scheduled, so no progress on that. No progress on the grenade launcher, which is obviously scheduled. Servo frag pistol is still scheduled. The laser cannon is still scheduled. The Wormra, the class Wormra Lumen version V is still scheduled. Core Tech obviously is still scheduled. Server to client actor rework is still scheduled. Performance optimization is scheduled. Improved terrain schedules is still shadow. Sorry, is still scheduled, and shield replacement technology replacement is still scheduled. Atmosphere tech improvements is still scheduled as well. So for very quickly, 3.8, like I say, obviously I'm not expecting a lot on this one either, but let's go through this. Microtech is still listed as scheduled. The mission giver, Eddie Parr, has actually gone through and is 7 out of 29. So he has made some progress on that. The refinery space station is scheduled. The cargo space station is scheduled. The refinery space station is scheduled. Microtech is scheduled. New barrage landing zones. That is actually still scheduled. Microtech moon Calliope is scheduled. The moon for Microtech Cleo is scheduled. The moon for Microtech Europa is still scheduled. AI FPS combat behavior is still scheduled. Flight AI Ace Pilot is scheduled. The dynamic mission system is still scheduled. Mag boots is scheduled. Push and pull for 0G is scheduled. Seated item handling is scheduled. Security system is scheduled. Ship-to-ship docking is scheduled still. Vehicle HUD is scheduled. Salvage is scheduled. The Prowler is still scheduled. The Cutlass Blue rework is still scheduled. The Anvil Carrack, which is what everybody is probably going to want to know. Let me just move this over a little bit. Okay, so the Anvil Carrack is still 8 out of 57, so no major change on that. Hull C is 25 out of 45, which is the same as it was, so no major change on that. Apart from that, weapons, the Siege Mass Driver revision is still scheduled. The electronic shotgun is scheduled. The pistol for the pneumatic pistol is still scheduled. And Cortec performance optimization is scheduled. So yeah, look guys, at the end of the day, that is the roadmap, that is the update. There has been a little movement, most likely, or most of the movement has been in 3.5, which is obviously what we expect, because that's the stuff that's going to be coming out sooner rather than later. But they have also started working on some of the 3.6, but mostly in 3.5. Apart from that, guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. What are you most excited about? How do you feel about the progress they're making with Star Citizen? Do you think it's been a good progress? Are you a little bit worried they might fall behind? When do you think the new flight model was going to come out? I'm expecting it to come out at the start of next month. Well, at least for Eva Cardi anyway. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. If this video has been helpful, please smack a like. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, I'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great day and enjoy.